Pittsburgh Steelers and the Los Angeles Rams. It is an expensive 3 in favor of the Rams at home over the Steelers. 43.5 is your total. So, Adam, the Steelers coming out of a bye. We know what they have looked like on the offensive side of the ball so far this year. It has not been good. Every now and then flashes a little bit of Pickett to Pickens, but that is about it. Did they find anything? I'm looking at the injury report right now. They were optimistic Pat Freiermuth was going to be back, and he is not. So he is officially out for them. But they do get Deontay Johnson back. So that obviously could, in theory, help this offense. We don't know because we don't know if Kenny Pickett can actually do anything at the quarterback position in the NFL. At first blush, I wanted to come in on the Rams, and then I pumped the brake, kind of at least considering the fact that getting Johnson back in there, maybe he now, with Pickens not having to be the number one, you bring back in Johnson who can be that number one, and then Pickens might actually get to run a little bit more freely. Maybe that opens up. Maybe it's easier throws for Pickett, which can make his job a little bit easier. So I pumped the brakes. I don't have anything in the account on this one. At first blush, I wanted to go Rams, but then I was like, coming out of a bye, a healthy wide receiver 1, maybe we see a different version of the Steelers.
Okay. I can't get there. And here's why. Because to me, thinking that way about Deontay Johnson especially is kind of coaching your bet a little bit, because you're asking Matt Canada as offensive coordinator to effectively reincorporate him into the game plan, and we've seen pretty consistently that Pittsburgh's game plans don't seem to reflect the talent that they have at any given time. And so for me, this is Rams -3, and here's why. I can look at 4 different units, right? 2 offenses and 2 defenses, and I can tell you that by non-garbage time EPA, there is 1 elite unit in this game, and it has actually been a truly elite unit throughout the season. The Los Angeles Rams are 4th in offensive EPA outside of garbage time. 4th! And Puka Nacua didn't suffer last week. He did not suffer at all with Cooper Kupp coming back into the lineup. Like, this is going to be a spot for the Rams offensively to continue to do what they do, and I don't really worry that much about Pittsburgh figuring it out offensively. And here's the other piece of this equation. The one name that you did not mention on the injury report is the single most important name that you could mention for Pittsburgh, and he only popped up yesterday with a heel problem, and that's TJ Watt. TJ Watt was not on the injury report on Wednesday, and that heel problem was something that he injured in practice on Thursday. And so the Pittsburgh defense without TJ Watt is all right.
TJ Watt has been removed from the injury report.
Okay, well, it was bad enough to be a DNP on Thursday, so it's at least something to give me pause about what the health is of TJ Watt. And we know that's how the Steelers have been winning games, is by causing havoc with their defense. So anyway, the long and short of it is the handicap comes down to, I want to be betting on an elite offense, and the Rams have been that thus far in terms of their production in the passing game.
So, Stephen, you and I talked a little bit on the Survivor Pod this week about just some of the stuff that we were thinking from a general standpoint. And, one of the things we're talking about, comeback player of the year, we're sitting here, DeMar Hamlin -150, Tua Tagovailoa +240, but then Cooper Kupp still sitting out there at 15-1. If this Rams offense continues to hum, if DeMar Hamlin continues to be inactive on NFL Game Day Sundays, and Tua wins the MVP, like they're not going to give him comeback player of the year and MVP, then the next guy on the list is Cooper Kupp, right? I mean, and like if the Rams continue to kind of play the way that they're playing, it's at least an interesting bet to put in your account anyway. I wanted to at least tangentially mention that because that was something we had talked about in case people don't follow that side of everything. I'll let you elaborate on that a little bit, and then we can go into your thoughts on this game.
I'm glad you mentioned that, because a couple of weeks ago I shared Cooper Kupp 80-1 to win comeback player of the year in the lines.com Discord. I don't think Tua is an appropriate second choice in that market, because first of all, I think he's more likely to win MVP at this point. And secondly, I'm not sure he missed enough games last year to really be a comeback candidate in voters' minds. it could just be Hamlin still, and that's that. If it's not, I have 3 guys circled that it might be. One is Kupp. If he gets injured again, I think Stafford probably passes him as the Rams candidate if they make the playoffs. And I still think Baker Mayfield, even though he's regressing a little bit, I still think he's in the mix. Let's not forget Geno Smith lost a lot of games last year and still won Comeback Player of the Year. So I'm not sure Baker's dead in that category. As far as the handicap for this game, I agree with a lot of what Adam said. I want to be bullish on this Rams offense. The reason I haven't pressed the button yet is just one caveat of the offense in this particular matchup against TJ Watt and company, that Matthew Stafford this year has the number 30 catchable pass rate in the league when pressured. That's my concern here. And I'm not sure this is a great matchup in that regard. And getting a full 3 when you don't have a real home field advantage also concerns me a little bit.
I would want to know, by the way, if I were going to base my handicap on that stat, I would want to know how it adjusted last week with Cooper Kupp back
It's very
in
fair
the
point.
lineup
Very
versus the first 4 weeks.
The other thing about this, just to play devil's advocate here, to play on the Steelers side of things, I wonder, just because the only dude, and when we always talk about dudes here on the podcast, the only dude on the Rams defense, which don't get me, they are playing spectacularly well considering the talent level that they have on that defense, but the only dude they have is Aaron Donald. Could that actually scare Matt Canada into calling more efficient plays? Yeah, could he be sitting there going, you know what? I could run Najee Harris into the line for 1.5 yards, or I could just avoid Aaron Donald and throw the ball more.
Don't assume Matt Canada is going to do
I've heard that
anything
suggested. Yeah, right. I mean, I have actually heard that suggested in smart places this week. But again, I can't coach Matt Canada, and if I could, I'd have won a lot of money by now.
Yeah, this is all true. Just something, devil's advocating here on all of this.